No! Mom! Why'd you do that? Why? That's child abuse! What's up, everyone? I'm Charles Medley, and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Eric and Thomas season of My Random Tales. Yes, that is the official name of my storytime videos. It's going to be called My Random Tales, and this is the Eric and Thomas season. So, in this episode, I want to talk about the untold stories of Eric and Thomas, the untold facts, and a couple of cringe moments, and very, very unwise moments. Let's start with talking about Thomas, and Thomas's life outside of his friendship with Eric. In case you're wondering what Thomas did when him and Eric weren't friends, see, Thomas had many, many friends, and they were much more frequent than Eric. Thomas had a life. Thomas had a full-time job with great benefits and great pay. It was just about every weekend Thomas had to manage and organize his hangout times with friends because people were always calling him, texting him. Hey, want to hang out? Hey, want to hang out? Thomas's best friend, no, not Eric. Remember, that was only twice in that 11-year period. No, Thomas's best friend, I'm going to call him Kenny. I'm going to call him Kenny. So Thomas's best friend, Kenny, and Thomas, they would hang out a lot more than he and Eric would. They would have their fights every now and again, but it was never a falling out. Just like any friends fight. And Thomas didn't just have friends, he had family. He had nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters. He had relatives. Thomas definitely had quite a life, a very wholesome life, outside of him and Eric's friendship. The only time that Thomas's life wasn't too wholesome is when he was around Eric. Anytime he got around Eric, he was just kind of always having to make sure that he didn't talk about things that would end up in an argument. And this was very constant with him and Eric. So, moving along, let's talk about the unwise and cringe moments that Thomas had witnessed with Eric. Let's start with the diner. All right, so one weekend, Eric and Thomas went to this diner, and there was a couple of ladies that worked there, roughly in their late 30s, early 40s. Eric and Thomas were obviously in their early to mid 20s. Eric was 23, Thomas was 25. Eric and one of the ladies there was getting pretty flirty, so they went to the bar next door, and they all we're just having a good time talking, and Thomas was sharing a bit of himself with the crowd, and Eric and, I'm going to call her Tasha. Eric and Tasha, they were dancing and kissing and hugging, and Tasha had a boyfriend or a husband or something. Yeah. Shame on you, Tasha. Anyways, so the night was over, and the next weekend came. Eric and Thomas went to a tech store where Thomas bought a brand new digital camera. And he was having fun with it. He was just like filming everything under the sun. Like, man, look at my new camera. That same weekend, the next morning, Eric and Thomas go to that same diner and hung out with the same girls. Well, Tasha brought her 15-year-old daughter. Now, that diner was it was a very kid-friendly place. Family-oriented, but more kid-friendly. That means keep your mouth clean and keep your ass in your pants. Eric was the transgressor of that rule. There are kids that come in and out of that place. Kids. And I don't mean just teens. I mean, yeah, it was definitely a hangout place for high school students, but also little kids, elementary schoolers. Thankfully, it was just Eric, Thomas, Tasha, and I'm going to call the fourth one Amy. Thomas was filming Tasha, and Tasha is looking at him all flirtatiously, like, oh, stop filming me. And they were all just having a good laugh. Well, what does Eric do? Right in front of Tasha's 15-year-old daughter, drops his pants, and moons the camera. Eric, I'm talking to you right now. Wow. You walk on Thomas. You walk on him. You say terrible things to him. You push him out of your life multiple times. You have said things to him that made him say, piss off. I'm done for a little while. You did this to him. And then what do? You flash your ass in front of his camera, in front of a 15-year-old girl. You are so lucky Thomas is not a malicious person. You are so lucky that he's not out there to get you after everything that you've done to him. Because all he would have to do is post that video on the internet, and nobody would look at you the same ever again. You would forever be the grown man who flashed his butt in front of a 15-year-old girl. That same day, Thomas was wanting to show a funny video that he made a few years back, and Eric had already seen the video, and Eric's like, oh my gosh, no! Dude, that video is so annoying, don't show it. I don't want to hear it again. I don't want to see it again. And Tasha looked at Eric and said, I think you're being judgmental right now. She was getting pretty upset. I think everyone was getting a little upset with Eric because the guy was just being a grump ass and being really negative about things. I'm not saying that Tasha was a good person because, I mean, hello. First off, she's got a boyfriend or husband or whatever at home who she has multiple kids with. And her 15-year-old daughter saw something that she shouldn't have seen. And Tasha just kind of sat there and laughed about it. But Eric was stupid enough to mistreat Thomas even moments after Thomas caught that on camera. So after Tasha had called Eric out, Eric was all like, oh, he can show you. It's just not my thing, that's all. And so Thomas showed him, and they loved it. They thought it was hilarious. So next up, fast forward into the future, not that far in the future, just a couple of years, Eric and Danielle, Eric's girlfriend, I'm going to call her Danielle, moved out of that cute little house from the last video that I told you about, and we're getting ready to move into the 6-hour location. Meanwhile, Danielle was staying with her family, and Eric was staying with his family. Thomas stayed the night there during that period. Just like maybe 1 or 2 weeks that Eric and Danielle were staying with their families before moving. But Thomas stayed the night during that period over at Eric's parents' house with Eric, obviously. And the next morning, Eric is eating breakfast. Thomas wasn't really hungry, so he wasn't eating. And Eric's mom just flicks the hair in the back of Eric's head. Just flicks it as a joke. And she was just being funny, that's all. And says, aren't you gonna offer your friend something to eat? And Eric says, ow! Mom! Why did you do that? Why? Oh, you piece of beep, 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 beep. You dirty little beep, beep, beep. You can go beep yourself, you beep, little beep, beep, beep. I mean, just calling her filthy names and just not letting up. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And the things he was saying, calling her a dirty little C and all that stuff, he brought her to tears. She was crying because of the things that he was saying. Thomas was like, dude, chill out, man. She was just joking. She didn't even hit you. No. Look, dude. I know her. She was being this, that, and the other. I know her. She's crying, dude. I don't care. So what? She's just faking. Those are fake tears. She's not really crying. Dude. It wasn't even that big a deal. Yes, it was. It was child abuse. Child abuse? All right, I'm talking again now. This isn't Thomas. This is me. That's not child abuse. You stopped being a child 7 years ago. You're 25 years old now. 25. You are a 25-year-old man. And you're crying child abuse over something that wasn't even abuse. So there's a little bit of cringe for you. Now, moving into the way future. This is even after the Ultimate Showdown. Wait, there's an after show? Well, there's not an after show. There's not like an after episode. But there was definitely an after event after the Ultimate Showdown. And I'll get to that in the same episode of the final showdown. So Eric met this girl way off into the future from the time that I'm telling you about. So Eric meets this girl. Again, only dated for a couple of months, only knew each other for a couple of months, and then already moved in together. Already, the girl's family hates his guts. I mean, they liked him at first, and then all of a sudden, they hate his guts. That's his story. There's no telling why. I don't know why they hate me. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong, but they're just really crazy people. Eric's girlfriend, I'm going to call this was a new girl. I'm going to call her Kayla. So Kayla and Eric, Kayla's family liked Eric at first, and then all of a sudden hated him. I mean, really, really hated him. I mean, like, even to the point of threatening him, saying, I'm coming after you. If I'm not going to lie, the measures that they were taking, I would say, were pretty extreme. But maybe it was appropriate. I don't know. Knowing Eric and the things that he says and the things that he does, maybe they had a right to do so. I mean, the things that he said to Danielle, which I will get into that too, were pretty awful. So I couldn't imagine that it would be any different with this one. Kayla is mentally handicapped. Maybe not like to a noticeable extent, but I'm guessing you would have to really know her to know that she's mentally handicapped. But Eric was talking to Thomas on the phone, and he was talking about how crazy Kayla's mom was, and said Kayla's mom is the one that held her back. She's the one who kept her retarded. Thomas and Kayla in the background were like, Eric, is that really a necessary choice of words? And Kayla's like, yeah, Eric, that's kind of mean. And Eric says, oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't politically correct of me to say. Now, Eric claims to be this hardcore Republican who's anti-snowflake, anti-crybaby, anti-leftist. And if you correct him, you are a politically correct leftist. If you correct him on anything. Look, I've said it in one of my videos. There's being helpful, being informative, and being an asshole. Eric was being an asshole. He wasn't being informative. He was not being helpful. He was being an asshole. And look, let's talk about crybaby snowflakes. A 25-year-old man screaming and crying child abuse. All right, Eric, yeah, thank you. Thank you for your input on crybaby snowflakes. Thank you. All right. Moving along, let me get into a few dishonorable mentions before the final untold story about Eric. Now, going back to where Eric and Danielle were dating. Danielle had cancer, and there was a fear of it coming back, and if it came back, she wouldn't have made it, more than likely. It was going to be really bad, but thankfully, that's not what happened. Eric and Danielle got into a fight one morning, and Danielle told him to pack his stuff and go. You know, back and forth bickering. Eric says, I hope you get cancer and die. Wow. That's what you say to somebody who literally almost died of cancer. You say that to them. What a great guy you are, Eric. When Eric was discussing with Thomas about how bad his situation was with Danielle, Thomas says, well, hey, if you do need a place to stay, you can stay with me. And Eric got really, really pissed off at Thomas for saying that. Why? Thomas offered you a place to stay, for Pete's sake. And Eric had a few smug things to say about Thomas's house and Thomas himself. Thomas just offered you to stay with him, and you got this mad over it. And the third dishonorable mention, Eric's disrespect towards anybody. Thomas hated grape jokes. I'm calling him grape. It's a form of assault. You know what I'm talking about. I shouldn't even need to. All right, so grape jokes. Thomas did not like grape jokes, but Eric would crack grape jokes just to spite Thomas, just to purposely disrespect him. And Thomas wasn't even mean about saying, you know, hey, can you take it easy on them jokes? You know, he was politely letting him know that he's not comfortable with those jokes. But what does Eric do? Gets into even more brutal and graphic details of those jokes. Now, the last untold story about Eric. Eric was a job hopper. Eric would, again, the flaw situation. He likes it, sees a flaw, hates it, right? That same process with his jobs that I mentioned in the last video. He claims that customers yelling at him on the phone gave him PTSD. So he quit that job, and he would be freeloading off of his girlfriend for like 3 weeks to a month until he found a new one. And all the while, before finding a new job, he's blowing money. He's spending money on things that he doesn't need instead of saving it and waiting until he got a new job. So, finally he got a new job. Loved it. Oh, it's great. Hey, there's a problem here. Hates it. Quits it. Another 3 weeks to a month of him freeloading off of his girlfriend and blowing the money that he had left. Then he finds a third one, only it's a part-time job at a fast food joint, not making a lot. And all the while, ending up in a bunch of financial pickles. Really, really bad financial pickles that a part-time job was not going to get you out of. And while you're living in a nice, big house, granted, his girlfriend was pretty wealthy and had a really good paying job. She couldn't pay for that whole thing on her own. And Eric didn't care. Let me live here and let me spend my money, and you take care of everything else. That's Eric's motto. You should even make like a rap music video where you're standing on top of your girlfriend's nice car with her cash in your hand and you're like making it rain, right? Yeah, there's the door. Get out of here. Stay tuned for the next episode where you will see Eric try to turn the tables. All the support that Thomas has shown him, all the times Thomas has sat there and listened and given the best advice he could possibly give to Eric, going along with everything that Eric said, and how Eric, in just a matter of seconds, completely flips the table and tries to make Thomas out to be the bad guy in this whole situation. Stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share the video to share the message, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the notifications. Alright, I hope you all had a great day, because it would suck if you didn't. God bless.